is always good, though. Good people, that's how we're feeling. A survival to the fittest. Good people, welcome into episode 58 of the Rip City Wrap-Up, sponsored by the good people at Dick Canner Subaru. Tyree Smith, Danny Marang, Joe Simons with you folks after a really close call on the road. The Blazers, they start their long road trip in Utah, and they get the win, 114-112. Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you guys had a great start to your week. How's your week going? You got to start it this Monday. How was it?
Stressful day, stressful night. But we got work done. We got a win, so we're feeling good, Tyree.
Very good.
What is it? What's the weather anomaly we have going on? Not the tornado, but the
atmospheric river.
Yeah, I experienced that the other night. I hydroplaned for what felt like 8,000 feet, but it was probably like 80. The pucker factor reached infinity, and I don't like that.
These levels of?
Yeah, I mean, not quite to this level. This game got a lot tighter than it needed to be. Blazers do walk out with a win. We talked about this, Joe, last game. I said the Jazz were going to be game. And then they
Utah has some feistiness in
even
them.
Without Walker Kessler, even without Larry Markkinen, they like, if Keontae George had not gone 6 of 22, had he had a mildly decent game,
some of those threes were insane to keep them in the game.
That second one was absolutely
Tumani played
bonkers.
stellar, the best defense you can play.
Yeah.
You, Calabro at the same time said don't foul, and Tumani played expert defense not fouling, and he still made it in his grill to make it a game. Jeremy misses that free throw, and you're like, oh my God, this is actually going to happen, isn't it? And Utah couldn't make the final one to put it over the top, and Portland escapes.
I think JG did that for fun. Keep us on our toes a little bit. He got to. Use that hashtag RC Wrap-Up to see if you think JG was just keeping us on our toes, because good people. He had 20 points, all right? He knew what he was doing a little bit. That missed free throw, though, was definitely something that had everybody in our sports office kind of like.
Look, it was a game that was probably tighter than it should have been, but, you know, the Blazers right now, I think this road trip, everything is still status quo as far as, you know, whether guys are going to get shut down or this, that, or the other as it pertains.
We're still playing the basketball season as of right now.
Yes,
we should.
I don't think there's going to be any kind of adjustment towards that until at least this trip's over. And I know that a lot of people are going to just kind of freak out. And yes, this is
tweet of the night, Andy. Well done, bud.
Jeremy Grant starting this game like he just found out Joanne's Fabrics is closing. I mean, he found out that Joanne Fabrics was burning down, I guess, because the way he started out shooting the ball from 3, 4 or 5 from 3 in the first quarter. I mean, it was just straight cash.
Well, our guy was due considering how he'd been playing the last few games.
No, and I think you can kind of see that up and down the lineup. Ant goes 3 of 13 from 3, but goes 7 of 10 from 2. He talked about it with Brooke in the post game. You know, I wish I had a few more threes. He had a couple that rattled out. I think he'd love to have back.
And Ant had the we escaped with that one smile.
The whole interview.
Yeah. How'd it go? Well, Brooke, you know, it was a close one. It's tough.
Didn't like the way that one went. You know, the fourth quarter, the Jazz end up outscoring the Blazers just by 2. Thankfully, not more. I thought I jinxed it. They didn't get a 5-point lead, and I looked at you and I went, "This is going to happen." I thought the overtime was coming. It felt like it was ever present. Just you could feel it with like 4 minutes to go. It was
just like
you saw Chauncey's face after he made that shot.
Well, I mean, as a Keontae,
like,
I think
the second one is like in the background. He's like, "Oh my God, what are we doing here?"
What are we supposed to happen?
Yeah,
but I thought you had some good performances tonight. Obviously, Jeremy 5 of 10 from 3 is huge for you. I thought, despite the 6 turnovers from Scoot Henderson, I thought he had a really good game otherwise.
I agree.
He had a couple of loud ones, but you know he ends up playing 30 minutes tonight. He gets to be on the floor and be a part of the closing group because he was getting it done. Even when he was making mistakes, where earlier in the season, the mistakes he made, you're going, what are you doing? Here it goes, I get what you're doing. I understand, even if you messed it up.
It's like Evil Denny. Exactly. It's like Evil Denny where you're basically just running into people and hoping for the best. Because good Denny, because, okay, so you have an Evil Denny and here's where I'm going. You have an Evil Denny and a good Denny. Good Denny is what we see when he goes to the basket successfully. Evil Denny is what we see when Scoot's running into the basket and throwing the ball into the air, hoping he gets a call. Yeah. That was the Scoot we saw in December, maybe early part of January, but you're seeing a more positive version of Scoot now. So even when we get a 6 turnover game like this, Tyree, we can still be feeling good about it because you see where he's going.
Yeah, because he finishes the game 17, 6, and 5. The box score, it's not just the decision-making on offense, but it's on both sides of the floor. It's the combined nature of the game in that when he was making those mistakes in the past, he's also going 3 for 11 from the field. He's also, going 0 for 4 from 3. Tonight, he's able to capitalize by, knocking down some shots, getting to the rim, collapsing the defense, finding kickouts, like all the things you could, you kind of want to get in. This isn't, a great box score for the team. They shoot under 42% from the field. They shoot under 32% from 3, and they still win the game.
Could I use a bad baseball analogy?
Absolutely.
They're probably not going to score 18 runs.
Yeah.
You kind of felt like going into this game, there's going to be a little bit of that.
It's not going to be a 53-point win?
Not going to be a 53-point win.
Although, if they play the Hornets again.
If they played, the Hornets were awful tonight, so Portland is going to stay 4.5 back of Sacramento for the 10 seed. Let's just get that update out of the way right now. They're 4.5 back.
Can you say that again, please?
The Blazers are going to, as of this moment, let me make sure. No, it's a final.
Boy.
So the Hornets lost by 42 tonight.
Hey, an improvement.
Not bad.
53 the other night to Portland. So Portland is 4.5 back of the 10 seed. But to finish that thought, you don't expect the same level of performance you get against Charlotte. You get a Utah team, and we've seen this this has become a bit of a pattern with Portland when the best players for the opponent are not in the game. Portland's spirit, I won't even say spirit.
I don't think that
the spirit was fine.
Yeah.
I immediately retract that statement.
Yeah, no,
but Portland has struggled in these situations.
I think there's more missed shots tonight than anything else. You get the first quarter where they get out there and they get 33. It's the second quarter. That was the only problem tonight. They get outscored 29-18.
Yeah.
So they outscored the Jazz 29-18. And it was just one of those things where it's like the offense was fine, the defense was fine in the first half. You get into the second half, and the Jazz in the first half, I want to say they were something awful from 3, weren't they? They were 8 of 22 from 3. They
went the last 6 minutes aside from that half-court shot without making a point.
Yes,
not even a basket, just getting a point.
And that's what we're going to get to. That 8-3 came as a heave from Isaiah Collier at the buzzer. And the Jazz just could not get anything going. Keontae George, who did have the tremendous shot-making in the game, starts the game 1 of 8. And he got some clean, open looks, just kind of bouncing the ball around. I thought the Blazers, to your point about the spirit, I thought they were fine. Were they as locked in as they were when they came out against Charlotte? No.
But that's not. Yeah.
But I thought defensively they got lost a couple times in transition. There's a couple times when there was a little bit of miscommunication. Guys, double covering the same guy, not stopping the ball early enough. Things that Chauncey Billups will say, hey, look, guys, this is a win, so I'm not going to beat you up. But when they go look at it, look, when we're playing Boston, Cleveland, Oklahoma City, this is where we get not just beat. This is where this turns into a 20-point loss if you don't and it's not just the shot-making stuff. It's the finer points. And as we've talked about ad nauseum, this team is not good enough to gloss over the finer points on almost any given night. Now, when you're playing the Charlotte Hornets and the Utah Jazz and the Washington Wizards and the Brooklyn Nets, they're feisty too, like the Jazz. If you bleep around and find out, it can happen.
Well, look what happened on Thursday coming out of the All-Star break, Tyree. Portland didn't have it early in the game, and the Lakers are good enough without Luka to withstand a mediocre Blazers performance.
Yes.
Now, a mediocre Blazers performance against the Jazz, you get a little luck down the stretch, things are going to work out fine. But when the level of your opponent ramps up, as it's going to happen at the end of this trip, it'll be fascinating to see a few more softies coming up. But coming back to the game tonight, you mentioned Danny and you alluded to it. I know where you're going to get to, and I think we should probably go to it now because it is a topic of conversation. Shaedon was not in down the stretch.
No.
Shaedon was a minus 24 tonight. Scoot got those minutes. He got the opportunity. It's clear that if Shaedon isn't playing a certain style of basketball, Chauncey's not going to have him on the floor. No. And it's the same reason why he's not in the starting lineup. And fans, and we get a little heated off the air sometimes. We're passionate. We have spirit about these things. And I was saying that I understand why people get upset when Shaedon Sharpe isn't getting minutes down the stretch in a season like this. And it's not because he necessarily deserves them more than Scoot. But Blazer fans lock into a guy, Tyree, and they say, I've seen Shaedon Sharpe do things in the basketball court in a Blazers uniform I don't think I've seen anyone do.
Sure.
From an athletic standpoint, you can say that. But the other side of it is the reason why he got moved to the bench.
Do you care about his long-term future?
Absolutely.
And if you care about his long-term future, you should want what is happening to him right now to matter. We talked about this towards the end of last game, and it's very simple. And I'm not saying that Shaedon is a finished product, and if he doesn't figure this out, he's doomed. But this is a situation where you have an opportunity to set him aside and pull him aside. And Chauncey Billups has said as much. We need to see him wanted Because if you're going to invest in this guy, he's about to go into year 4.
Right, he's not a rookie anymore.
No, and
he's young, but he has some experience.
Yes,
Yeah.
and those opportunities, if he's not going to reach up and snatch it, that's on him. That is not an anti-Shaden stance. That is not like, I don't like Shaden. I want Shaden to be very good. He is very talented. But if he's not going to go out there, here's the thing. Has there been a game over the last 15 or 20 games where Shaden Sharp was cooking or doing the things he needed to do, and Chauncey Billups just gave him 17 minutes? The answer is no.
You see people bench people all the time in the NFL. I mean, you don't put you play for a bad amount of stretch. You put the backup quarterback in. Look, I see what you mean. Let me say this. Shaden is an all-worldly talent, and I think the entire NBA, whether you watch Portland or not, you know it when you watch 17. You know he's a talent.
No, there's no doubt about it.
But he has to have everything around in terms of if he isn't making those shots on the floor, he's almost essentially a non-factor in at least the last stretch of games.
No, you're not wrong. It's a big deal. Like, again, last game he had 5 assists, which you want to see him get the floor game.
Absolutely.
But you look at him tonight, in his 18 minutes, minus 24, the single game plus minus, not great. But when you've got guys on the team that are plus 19, plus 14, plus 16, and you're a minus 24, as a 40-point swing, there's a pretty sizable difference in what's happening on the floor. And if Shaden Sharp's going to be out there, if the only thing he's going to do is score, tonight he's got 12 points, 2 rebounds. And they're like, well, he needs to play more minutes. Like, no. It's the other way around. In the minutes that you're out there, you have to produce. And I'm not talking just box score. If Shaden Sharp is taking the right shots, if he's driving the ball and getting to the rim, and he's spraying the ball around, and guys aren't hitting shots because they're missing, but he's doing the right things, Chauncey Billups and this coaching staff is not going to not play him.
Well, we talked about a good metric to judge Shaden by is free throw attempts.
Yes.
And I was talking to you about Denny's proclivity of getting to the free throw line, and he leads the team in that category, and then it's Jeremy. But Shaden is not in the top 3 Blazers in free throw attempts. And given his athleticism, that's where he should feast.
That's where his points should come from, right?
Scoot didn't have free throws tonight, but Scoot is very good at getting to the free throw line. He has picked up that ability to get to the basket, draw contact, initiate contact, and at the very least, make it a difficult decision for the ref with the whistle.
Denny Avdia has a 432 free throw rate, which means 43% of his shots are turning into, .432 free throws for every single shot he takes. That's an insane rate. That is, to be honest, that's an all-star caliber rate.
But even comparing Shea to someone like because you said Jeremy's second on the team at this point, right? So even comparing those two guys, I just need to see Shaden at the free throw line more because it slows the game down. You have a certain control and you're imposing your style of basketball on the court when you're getting to the free throw line. I know people like to poke at SGA because he's a free throw merchant and all these sorts of things.
The grifting. Yeah.
But he's going to win the MVP probably. At the very least, he's going to finish in the top 2.
Yes.
And part of that is getting to the free throw line. We saw Dame do that for years. That's got to be an element that is in Shea's game because, Tyree, you made an excellent point. If Shea is not scoring, how do you justify having him on the floor?
Why are his fans mad that he's not on the floor if he isn't doing what you wanted him to do? That's my problem. And I've seen some comments, and I see where you're talking about it as well, but there's also people that kind of realize it's almost just having a dummy player out there who's, taking up space if he's not passing, if he's not at least assisting, and if he's not getting to the line, which in his game, that's where he should be getting 30 points. He should be.
To your point, the idea of the free throws, it's not just the free throws. What it demonstrates is a level of aggressiveness.
Right.
That, to me, is the biggest thing. Because when Shaden Sharp is aggressive, you see it in his game because entire defenses look at him and it's not just that he's shooting poorly from 3 this season. It's that they'd much rather deal with him at the three-point line than deal with him at the rim.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's a pretty easy trade-off for most teams when you see his ability. And tonight, he had some sensational plays at the basket.
He had 2 putbacks that ended up missing. One of them, Donovan kind of knocked it out of his hand, and the other one just hit the back of the rim. Those are the plays where I'm sitting there going, yes, good, like that. He had one of the things we've kind of highlighted with Shaden. I don't want this to be like a Shaden bashing session, but this is kind of what's going on right now in Blazer fandom is the getting a switch and just he got a switch against Jackson Hayes against the Lakers, and he just dribble, pull up 3, and you're like, it's Jackson freaking Hayes, dude. Go.
2 of 6 tonight from the 3.
Well, I mean, that's fine. Like, I have no problem with him.
He should be
5.
licking his chops when he gets that match.
Yeah, and he got Kyle Filipowski tonight. He drove, and he ended up, it looked like, it didn't look like, it went off of his leg, but it looked like he got fouled. And he kind of looked back at the ref, and I think that was the play he ended up getting teed up on, if I remember right. But it was one of those things where it was like, yes, Kyle Filipowski is in front of you. Eat. Put your head down and go. I'd rather him pick up a charge, rather him have a turnover. Just be aggressive and establish that so that they are worried about you. So that you become a threat. But if they know that you're willing to settle for that, it's a win for them.
Well, the reason we're having this level of conversation, and we are being hard on Shaedon, even though it was a victory for Portland, you can say, hey, Shea had 12 points. He knocked down 2 threes. All right, that's cool. But Blazer fans, I think one thing that we can all agree on is there's some level of expectation that Shea has the ability to be a piece of a contending team. How big of a piece, you can probably debate that.
It's still a sliding scale.
But
so much of that is about the mentality.
Exactly, and we're all in lockstep of we've seen it, and we've seen it for pockets, and we talk about this a little bit with Shaedon. Scoot has kind of dipped out of that where he's not disappearing. He's not having those stretches where it's very disappointing.
And Scoot was a guy that had this exact same thing happen to him.
Precisely.
He got demoted to the bench. It happened last year in his rookie season after that god-awful trip, that 7-game road trip where they got absolutely housed by the Thunder. They lose by 62. You know, the night before that, they get smoked by the Knicks, or 2 nights before that, they get smoked by the Knicks. And after that, they had a team meeting. And in that team meeting, it was kind of decided that we need to make a personnel change. Basically, Scoot needed to come out of the starting lineup, but they couldn't make those changes because Malcolm Brogdon was hurt, Jeremy Grant was hurt, Anthony Simons was guys were, but the second they got Malcolm back, Malcolm, who was meant to come off the bench, became starter because it was like, no, Scoot, this ain't it, man. And it wasn't a shot at Scoot. It's the exact same thing.
I want your thoughts on this, Tyree, because you early on, you're like, I need my guy Shea to show some life. Give me something. And he got a tech, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So he did something. He showed a little bit of life tonight at some point. I don't know if it was a magic word or what happened, but
he showed
my man got teed up.
In his way, he showed some light.
In his way.
Did you see
I did not see any outwardly excitement from Shea. Perhaps there was some words, some muttering that occurred to get that technical foul.
What makes a superstar, Joe? There's not just the game, but it's everything. The charisma, the personality, how you interact with the community, all of that. That's why Dame is going to be probably top 2 Blazer of all time when it's said and done. Shea doesn't have the personality. He doesn't have the outside qualities yet.
He doesn't need to have that because I don't think a guy like, speaking of Shea, SGA, Gilgeous-Alexander, you don't see him. He's not Ant Edwards. He's not Wemby, you know, out there in front. Like, you can. Jokic is the guy who seemingly could care less in his public persona. You don't have to. You can be quiet. You can be reserved, but you can still be a stone cold killer on the floor. Kawhi Leonard says nothing, ever. And the one time he did, Tim Duncan, perfect. You can be a silent dude who is a stone cold killer. Kawhi Leonard, the one time he opened his mouth, he laughed, and everybody made a meme out of his laugh. Like, it's okay to be quiet and have that personality. That's okay. There's plenty of quiet dudes in the league who, when they get on a basketball court, want to rip your heart out. And that's what the Blazers are trying to pull out of Shaedon Sharpe. Like, if you want to go get a $20 million contract, go get it, brother. I'm telling you right now, if Shaedon Sharpe is out there and balls out, they are not going to be like, sorry, Shaedon, Jeremy's got to get minutes. Ant's got to get minutes. Scoot's got to get minutes. If he goes out there and hoops, he will get more tick. Period, point. Like, anybody saying otherwise, you're crazy.
Well, it's fascinating because I think we all thought this season was going to go a certain way, and the Blazers have 25 wins that were not even in March. You know, part of the calculation could be, hey, I'm going to eventually be in the starting lineup. Things are going to change eventually, and that process has been delayed indefinitely. Like, maybe it will turn on this trip. Maybe it turns when they come back. We just don't know, but it's really fascinating over the last 25 games to see where we are with Shaedon Sharpe going into the offseason. Because if we're where we are right now, I'm not going to say cause for concern, but The fact that Shaden Sharp isn't a starter on this team is not a great indicator.
It's number one with a bullet going into next season if you haven't kind of sorted through some stuff or seen the maturation.
And it's not just starting or bench. Like, he can be in the bench, but if you're seeing, like, Scoot's on the bench, but I feel great about Scoot.
Yeah.
He comes off great off the bench, though. It's his rotation. That's what works best for him. He doesn't need to be in the lineup to be a productive player to give you 17, 20 points a game.
And, I sat down with Chauncey Billups for the big Scoot Henderson piece that I dropped yesterday. Patreon.com/Jack Ramey's. But one of the things I asked Chauncey, and a little bit of giving away the goods here, was like, what do you think changed for Scoot? Was it maturity or was it acceptance of role? And he stopped me immediately. He's like, it's not acceptance, because I told him, like, you should never, ever, ever accept coming off the bench. And I've heard this from multiple NBA players. They're like, oh, that guy should come off the bench. You know why NBA players don't come off the bench or say, do the thing for the team? Because once you go to the bench as a veteran, you don't come back. You don't come back as a starter. Go find guys that went to the bench and find me the guy that became the starter again. It wasn't some ceremonial victory cigar like Carmelo Anthony. That is the only guy that's like. No, I mean,
it's such an unnecessary drive-by.
It's
completely unnecessary.
I mean, it's necessary. But Scoot, one of the things that Chauncey told me was, you should never accept this. And Scoot was like, his response was, yeah, I'm cool with it for now. In the sense of, like, I understand what you're asking.
Yeah, it's part of the process.
Yes, and, like, you want to see that from, like, if Shaden wants a starting spot, go out there and take it.
Sure.
Toumani Camara is your perfect example. Toumani Camara is a perfect example. Last year, he was a starter. Chauncey sat him down when he got outside the wheels a little bit, tried to do a little too much offensively, was taking too many shots, was doing things that he wasn't necessarily capable of doing night in, night out, nor were the things that the role required him to do. And I talked to Tu about that, and he told me, I had a really good conversation with Chauncey. He goes, he told me what I needed to do, and I understood it, and I accept it. And he did the things he needed to do for the rest of the season before getting injured with was a kidney laceration when he took the shot in Atlanta. But he comes back this season, and guess what he's doing? He's doing what was asked of him, and then more. He took the responsibility that he asked for, met that bar, and guess what? The bar went up, and so they give him more. This is true for literally any player in the NBA.
Or sports.
Yes, it is. It is a meritocracy.
I was about to say, sports, right?
It is there for you to get if you are good enough to get it.
As good as all of these points are, and I agree with you, I don't know how many minds you actually changed out there, and that's okay.
It's not okay.
It's okay. You cannot agree with us and still cheer for the team. It's fine.
Listen.
It's fine.
We still support our teams. He's still a Cowboys fan. I'm still a Saints fan. He still supports USC. And, we still stick with what we got, right? It all makes sense. Even if we're told the truth, it doesn't matter.
No switching. No switching.
No switching?
Absolutely not.
All right, let's go ahead and talk good people at Dick Hanna Subaru. Joe!
Don't believe fake spring. Winter is here. It's the perfect time to check out the new 2025 Subaru models rolling in every day over at Dick Hanna Subaru. Subaru delivers with that lifetime powertrain warranty on every new car. Experience nice in the car business at Dick Hanna Subaru. Believe it nice. Visit them today and see why a Subaru is perfect for the season and your next big assist. It's time for a deep dive into a shallow topic. That's right. It's Trend BA.
Indeed.
Trend BA! And it's coming from a half-court shot. Cleveland Cavaliers. Darius Garland, listen, This is a fan that was supposed to take a shot for $10,000, right? He's warming up. We're going to play the video. Watch Mr. Darius Garland in the back right there. My boy's warming up.
Does LeBron powder?
He's like, whatever. Who is this guy? This guy sucks. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's definitely going to.
Cash money!
He made it! And the social media are eating DG alive, calling him a hater, calling him, why were you doing that? Why are you acting like that? He's just having fun. Why are you being... And you know what? Frankly, he kind of deserves it. I don't know why he did that. I don't know why he was acting that way.
Move on. I'm with Darius. You got the best team in the NBA potentially on your floor. You're wearing a LeBron jersey, doing LeBron stuff. Wake up, kid.
Also, it was
garbage.
It was a very, weird,
Yeah, have you seen LeBron do it?
It's chalk toss. It's slow.
Yeah,
there you go. Look at that. Wow, we did that. That was pretty good. It's pretty good.
Are y'all defending DG?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
I like it.
Because he was like, who is this corny dude?
And then he made it.
That's fine.
And he wasn't the one celebrating with him.
I mean, did the rest of the team come off the bench and celebrate with him?
A couple of more.
I mean, it's fine.
Darius,
I don't appreciate this.
I'm pro
Darius
Darius.
did come on social media, and he did say, look, that was like the 5th thing the kid did. I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything by it because the social media folks were coming for him a little bit.
Good.
So he had to apologize.
Good.
No, I think everyone's doing a fine job here.
Whatever.
The kid should be excited. Darius can do whatever he wants.
Whatever.
Like,
and he can take the heat from social media. My point is, I know DG's a cool dude and everything, but darn it, I'm happy. I'm on the NBA floor. I'm around a bunch of NBA players. I finally get to in the building that one of my favorite players has been. I'm sorry, DG, you're not going to be an all-time Cavalier, whatever. So my point is, have fun. Why not support the kid?
So,
and if he would have missed, then I guess we'd have a different conversation. Did he miss?
Well, if he
miss?
If he missed, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Yeah.
But the point is, Darius had no idea he was like in this video or like doing a thing to disparage the kid. It's not like he went out of his way to be like, oh, this kid sucks or was something bad was happening. Like, I'm sure there was a lot of people on NBA benches during that were probably rolling their eyes. Darius happened to be the one that was caught on camera, just like that. And Darius went on and apologized.
Whatever.
I think the kid did good for making it. Quit living in the past. Darius is fine. That's my take on it.
I think Darius and he is fine. I look at it and I go, this dude's acting corny, and I'm gonna call him corny.
There's Darius.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was the 5th emoji.
He did
in 10
Y'all are
seconds.
showing y'all age. That's
Congrats
what I'm
to my
hearing.
guy, though.
I wonder if he was out there flossing before that,
Oh, like this was part of a routine.
like just little.
It was a clean shot. You got to give him credit.
Thank you.
It was. It's fine.
And he won
And
10 grand.
Look, DG wasn't hating on the shot. He's hating on him out there Fortnite.
I mean, here's what it really comes down to.
This is what I love about Darius.
Why
Why
are
am I
you-
explaining myself?
Exactly.
Yes.
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 Because people are upset. I'm sorry. I listen, I know he's a good player and everything. I think I was just salty because I thought the kid was excited and I thought it was rude.
Come on, Tyree.
I
You're-
just think
you're
that- I
upset
just thought
'cause
it was
he's wearing
kinda
a
rude.
Bronny jersey. Excuse me. I know. I know we can't call LeBron Bronny anymore, which I hate by the fact.
You called LeBron Bronny
That
before?
was a very common nickname for him before Bronny James became
Yeah.
a thing. But
Oh, y'all
he's-
aged yourselves for sure.
He's wearing the James jersey. You're defending your guy. I get it.
I think I'm more defending the kid because I know I'd be excited if I made a half-court shot.
Absolutely.
we're not
we all
saying it.
would
We're
be.
not saying that. You shouldn't be.
Absolutely. You should be excited to make a half-court shot. If you miss a half-court shot, you should be excited. I'd be fired up just being out there. I was dressed in a banana for a Jamba Juice contest. I was more excited than that kid was. I didn't win $10,000. I got a coupon for a free Jamba.
And he got like mauled by other fruit.
It was awesome. I was
I
a
do
banana.
remember.
There were strawberries. It was a good night.
All right. Well, you know what, DG? Sorry, man. I didn't mean to go that hard on you. I'm sorry.
On a positive note, to bring us back to the Blazers, I think somebody you can be excited about tonight that we actually have not mentioned at all tonight is Donovan Clingan.
Yes. Okay. I was hoping we talked about DC.
Donovan Clingan, box score wise, 7 points, 12 rebounds, 3 offensive, 25 minutes. When playing against this mildly more traditional matchup, like you're not really worried about Filipowski going out there and burying threes on most nights, although he goes 4 of 4 from 3 tonight. I thought Donovan looked good in his minutes. And he didn't get, foul happy. Actually, he finished the game without a foul. Wow, he did, yeah. I thought he picked up 2.
Donovan was good tonight.
No, again, 20, 25 plus minutes. In those minutes, again, single game plus minus, not a thing, but it's kind of it's a thing that I look for as like, it's not entirely indicative, but it's a nice flow of game situation. And it finishes a plus 16 on the night. When you see like weird outliers in there, you're like, okay, what happened in this shift? Like, you can kind of dig in a little bit deeper. But I thought his rim protection was good, had a couple of blocks. And I think you're just kind of seeing like Chauncey Billups. I mentioned this the other night in the pregame before they went on the road trip. I asked Chauncey, what is your goal with Donovan the rest of the season? How are you looking at his minutes? And he said, Danny, I'm not looking at his minutes. I'm looking at him. And I thought tonight it was a situation where, like, hey, yeah, I can get 3 or 4 more minutes out of Donovan. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things I think we gloss over because it's not mile high like it is in Denver. But playing in Utah, you are playing in altitude. It's the second highest altitude city in the NBA. And so you
How many feet, Dan?
I think Utah is like 3,800, remember right?
Can you get the math right?
Keep going.
It's something like that. But it's another one of those things like Utah has had one of the better home courts in the NBA for a very long time.
4,265 feet.
Okay,
That's pretty high up.
Thank you.
No,
Pretty
it
high.
is. Like, and it does impact you. Like, when you get up to those levels, it is harder on your lungs. It does take you a second to kind of figure that out. So I think that's good. And you got promising good minutes on both sides of the floor. Donovan finishes 2 of 4 from the field, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. I like seeing him be more aggressive around the rim. There was a couple times tonight where got a few too many of these.
Oh, herky jerky.
It's like, brother, you were 7'3", 290 pounds. Keep that ball here and Hulk smash.
Confidence, man. He's building. Also, he's building his endurance. You got to be happy with only 25, and he was still efficient in that.
Yes.
Leave it be. Leave it be.
And change the rebounds. This is the most impressive thing about. There we go. Ball Arena in Denver is in fact at 5,280 feet in Denver.
Appreciate you, Danny V. That is our producer in the back. Yes.
There you go. But Donovan Clingan tonight, 2 of 4. But the one of the things that I'm kind of watching from beyond the fitness and how many minutes he plays, but for being 7'3", 290, for being this massive humanity, he does he's not just a guy who gets the rebounds that are in his spot. He actually does a very good job of tracking rebounds outside of his range. He moves really well, and one of the things I've kind of noticed is he's done a really good job of tipping the ball outside of his range.
Yes.
Like if he can't get to it, he's so big and his wingspan is so long that he can be like, all right, I can't grab this, but what I can do, I can tip this to Ant. I can tip this to Jeremy. Those are like little micro skills that I watch for. Of like, okay, he's getting a better feel for where to be, when to be, how to read the ball off the rim, and the beyond that, the thing that I'm watching is his hands. There was early in the season, it was like, oh, buddy, you're
Like
kind of
he's playing
showing
with oven mitts on.
Yeah, you're kind of showing stone hands right now. We need to soften them babies up. We need to get you in front of a jugs machine and let's make sure we're catching those not with the body. Catch with our hands away from the body, kind of a thing.
Well, football stuff.
Exactly.
Like yeah.
I think we're beyond the point where I need to see real box score stuff from Donovan for me to feel excited about the way he's playing for this team. He is so effective at being big, and Dan, that is part of it too.
Yes.
Reaching for those rebounds that are outside of his grabbable range, I'll say, but he's able to tip. And his ability to do it around players, over players, and not commit fouls shows a really good body awareness, even if he doesn't have the softest hands in the world yet. I will say the hands are getting better.
Yes.
He is getting more adept at making shots around the basket. It is not just drop ball and hoop, dunk ball and hoop. Like, we've seen a few push shots off the glass. We've seen, there was the 2K player stuff. But besides that, I thought it was a very effective game for Donovan tonight and the other night. And again, Tyree, we don't have to see, and it is 12 rebounds, 3 offensive, 3 of 4 from the free throw line.
7, 12, and 2 from Donovan Clingan, perfectly fine.
What
Perfectly
you're looking
acceptable.
for. But you don't need to see him fill it up. In your point, Tyree, see him play 25 minutes is exciting.
Yeah.
Getting that endurance in there. But he is it sounds so dumb when someone is so big, but he does play big.
Yes.
He takes up a lot of space on the inside and makes it difficult for people. And you can see those shots. I mean, the second shot block that he had, most people don't get to. I think there was a bit of a surprise that that one was taken care of, but he wiped it away pretty easily.
Filipowski was like, oh, okay. And the thing about Filipowski is coming into the combine, he has a negative wingspan. He's listed at 6'11". I believe his wingspan is 6'10".
That's tough.
He's got raptor arms, which is strange for a big guy. Yeah. But one of the things there you go. Look at that graphic.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Can I ask you something real quick? Go. Is it crazy to say in the next 2 to 4 years Donovan would be top 5 big in the league? Is that crazy?
Defensively, no.
Defensively,
like defensively, when I had the profile of him, the heights that I said, like, I don't ever think Donovan's going to be a guy much more than, say, a Rudy Gobert offensively. And that is a play finisher. You're not going to throw the ball down to him. You're not going to run sets for him. He might end up being a better passer. But I think Gobert plays better above the rim. I don't think Rudy's nearly. I don't think people realize how athletic Rudy Gobert actually is.
I was gonna say he gets his points offensively.
Yeah, but it's all on dunks. It's like when he rolls to the rim, you throw it to the top of the box, and Rudy goes up and gets it. Like,
so he's not going to be Patrick Ewing or Hakeem on the baseline.
No, but look, would I like to see him develop a post move, a little shimmy, turn, baby hook? Yeah,
give me
absolutely.
a baby hook. That would be an exciting development.
The thing we talked about when Donovan Clingan was drafted was, he was going to be a per 36-minute monster. And his per 36-minute, it's almost exactly what I thought it would be when he was said and done so far in his rookie year. I said he would be 12, 15, and 5, or 4, excuse me, in a per 36. He is right now at 12.4, 14.7, and 3.5 blocks. those per 36 numbers are great. Here's what's actually really encouraging. And again, to some light analytical stuff. And this is when you're talking about offensive defensive rating, you're talking about team ratings. He's a rookie on a team that's still not very good. He has a positive net rating. His offensive rating is 116. His defensive rating is a 109. He is a +7 net rating. You don't see that very often from rookies who are playing, not a significant, but a measurable amount of minutes.
So is that a contribute to the team or just Donovan's ability to?
I think it shows that
defensive
him being,
terror.
well, yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Like a 109 defensive rating and a 116 offensive rating being +7. Like I think that's a pretty sizable measuring stick for a rookie big man who only played 20 minutes a game in college. Like those are like everything that I just listed out, the listicles of numbers, like those are things that are like good benchmarks. I think what's he playing now in the season? I think he's up to 16.4 minutes a night. Do I want to see that number like climb up to 18, closer to 20? Absolutely. But I thought this season he was going to play 18 minutes a night, and he's right there.
Well, if you look at the broader Donovan Clingan narrative throughout the course of the season, early on it's, wow, this is really exciting. He has those huge 10-point games.
12, and 8.
We're looking at Rookie of the Year odds.
So you mean
We're
big
saying,
eyes? We're big eyes looking at him
what's
like,
going on? This is unbelievable. Then he goes down with the injury, and it's like, all right, not again. Now, obviously, it wasn't what we've seen in the past. They babied him. You got to make sure things are right with a big man in Portland when there's an injury talk, right?
I realize that now.
You got to do it.
Yeah,
It's very traumatic. And then he came back, and it's kind of like we're trying to find it a little bit. He looked a little bit out of sorts for a couple games, and then he started to piece it together. And now we're at a level of consistency with him where, okay, you know at a minimum he's going to play big. You know he's going to grab rebounds. You know he's going to be effective defensively. And you're getting occasional offense, which is such a bonus at this point. Again,
and
him
extra
getting to the
possessions.
free throw line twice. Yes, the hockey assists, the batting the ball around.
Offensive rebounds.
Doing the little things you're not going to see that show up in the box score, but do contribute to a victory or an extra possession or something positive for your Blazers.
This is a crazy number. This is a bonkers number. His per 36 offensive rebounds is 6 a game. 6 per 36 minutes.
That's
6 offensive rebounds?
Offensive rebounds per 36. That is an absolutely bonkers number. I'm going to pull it up and do this live.
I was going to say, how rare is that?
Do it live.
For a rookie like that.
The last time I looked, he was still number 2 in the NBA in offensive rebound rate. Of course, our internet here in the studio.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you look this up and I'll talk about our friends
Absolutely,
from Best State Brewing.
Ooh, really?
Hey, yeah. Look. The game's over, but the night is just getting started. Come on, Monday night now. Let's talk about keeping those good vibes going with Best State Brewing, the fastest-growing non-alcoholic craft beer brand. It's the ultimate post-game play. We get to enjoy a great beer without worrying about tomorrow because, let's face it, celebrating tonight's win doesn't need no alcohol. So fans, make every day your best day. Find your nearest Best Day Brewing retailer at bestdaybrewing.com. Did I buy you enough time, Dan?
You did indeed.
Okay, great.
Donovan Clingan is in the 99th percentile in offensive rebound rate in the NBA.
Oh, boy.
The only players in front of him are the very seldom used Steven Adams and Day'Ron Sharp in Brooklyn.
You're big man.
He is at 16.3%. Day'Ron Sharp, 16.5%. Steven Adams, 19%. Also in that same vein, Donovan Clingan is in the 99th percentile in block rate. The only 2 players ahead of him in block rate in the entire NBA, Joe, Tyree, either care of you take a guess?
Rudy?
No.
Oh,
Vic?
Yes. Vic is number 1 at 5.7%. Who else? Who just came back from an injury?
Chet?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. Hey, we got it.
There you go.
Hey,
Victor Wembanyama and
smart.
Chet Holmgren. Like, if you're a defensive big, if there are 2 people you want to be lumped in concert with, it is Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren.
Those gentlemen.
Like, those are the guys that you're competing with Defensive Player of the Year awards for. And if you were there on that level as a rookie, that bodes incredibly well for you.
Is it time to start doing the top 25? I don't want to run on a show.
You know what?
I gotta get it in.
We gotta make sure we get it.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. I think it's about time.
Okay, so we have 25 of these shows left if the Blazers don't make the play-in, Danny. So we probably have 25 of these shows left.
There you go.
We had a big panel of Blazers experts compile a top 25 Blazers of the 21st century. Now, if a Blazers career was in this century, they are eligible, even if the majority of it was not in this century, with the exception of one player. Now, Rod Strickland is one of the top 25 Blazers of the last, let's say, 30-ish years. Rod Strickland played 21 games in this century. The panel ruled him out. Okay?
Not good enough.
We love Rod Strickland. He didn't make it. 2 receiving votes that did not make it. Gerald Wallace, Carmelo Anthony just missed it.
Okay.
Carmelo Anthony and Jared Wallace just missed the cut.
You took my guy off.
I did.
Monster.
No, I didn't,
I thought
Danny.
he was gonna
The
stay.
panel of experts.
I know.
Really?
The panel of experts.
Can I-
Absolutely.
No.
Okay, Gerald Wallace
Connie
is not,
Rice said no.
not going to be 25th, so I'm not going to. The reason I had him
Go ahead.
25th was not just because I love watching Crash play. What did Gerald Wallace turn into? Damian Lillard. That is why he was 25th on the list for me. He was very important in that he was traded for a pick.
Yes, absolutely.
That became Damian Lillard.
And he is on the receiving votes along with Carmelo Anthony, who I wanted to be in there. The panel overruled me because Carmelo is the most famous Portland Trailblazer ever, and that's just really cool.
And the panel obviously didn't feel that was strong enough.
Yeah,
to keep.
I thought it was cool. So without further ado,
Panel got it right.
we're going to
I didn't
unveil
believe that.
number 25 on our list of the top Blazers of this century, Al-Farouq Aminu. Chief made the cut, baby. I'm so excited. Danny,
I was really hoping
love him.
our B-roll started with Al-Farouq Aminu in transition.
oh, locking down LeBron?
No. Look, I mean, a little spike there too.
Both seasons in Portland, baby.
Look, I wanted to see Aminu
like
in the
40.
open court because there was one thing that it's one of the things we was used to do was it was a terrifying time in Portland. Anytime Chief got out in transition, and you're just sitting there going, "Oh boy, what's gonna happen?"
You know, you guys honestly were covering this team during a really fun time.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like it's not fun now. I'm having a lot of fun right now.
It's a lot more
but
fun
there's
when they
just
win.
there's so much history and
See-
so many players that had long-standing, I want to say, impact. Whether you remember it for a season, 2 seasons, whatever, but you guys just had so much fun in the previous year.
You're making an excellent point, Tyree, because part of the reason why I think it's important to have Chief on this list is because the second best team of this century from a success standpoint in the postseason featured Al-Farouq Aminu.
He wasn't. Look, going back to the playoff series against the New Orleans Pelicans, Chief delivered, baby.
Yes.
I think he shot like 44% from 3. Now, it wasn't on enough volume, which ended up being their downfall in a sense. But that's not his fault. He did what was expected of him.
Completely agree. And
Chief was always good enough to be your baseline forward.
that's right.
The problem was the Blazers needed to get someone else at that 3 spot when Harkless just wasn't enough.
Exactly. I think too often, and look, Mo is very handsome.
Very
Mo Harkless is a very handsome
him
man.
and Jim Jackson are both on the Mount Rushmore of best-looking Blazers with Jeremy Grant. Like it's
Gorgeous. Yes. I do think
very
Al-Farouq
strong
Aminu
jaws.
unfairly gets lumped in with Mo Harkless as the wings from that era who couldn't cut it. And yes, Chief had his picadillos, we'll
Yes.
say. But I do think in so many ways he was an important member of that team. And you can see it defensively. He did knock down the oft corner 3. And he did step up in big moments. Chief was a big reason Portland was able to thread the needle and make that Western Conference Finals. And beyond that, he is just such a fun character. And he was someone who was so beloved by Blazers Twitter when it really was peaking, 10 to 12 years ago. Like he was this guy who just had a way about him that was so gravitating.
And he just talked like this.
Yes, and Tyree, we talked about Shea, and exactly, Chief wasn't the bombastic personality, but he had such a unique and warm personality that he endeared himself to Blazer fans in such a specific and unique way.
Can I listen? It's not that Shea doesn't have personality. I just want to and talk to Shea. Like he is a cool guy.
Yeah.
I just know that he can bring out a little bit more. He's
Sure.
a young 21-year-old, lots of fiery in him. Like
I'll say
yeah, that's what I
unabashedly,
want.
Shea is freaking hilarious. Like he has a very sneaky, dry sense of humor. Like
What, you mean when he attempts to dunk, don't do it, and kind of teases
well,
us?
no,
That type
I'm
of funny.
I'm just talking about in the locker room.
okay.
Like he's funny. And he just kind of slides these things in. And I think I wish more fans got the opportunity to see that personality of Shea, but the personality from Shea that you want to see, and this is something I don't think you could ever question about Chief. Chief always came correct.
Absolutely.
Chief, you never
No question.
felt cheapened by Al-Farouq Aminu. Ever. Now, Maurice Harkless, on the other instance, you felt cheapened by
Absolutely.
pretty regularly.
I always said during the Dame era, the most exciting Portland Trailblazer on the fast break was Al-Farouq Aminu because literally anything could happen.
Was he Denny before Denny or something?
Anything could happen.
No. It was Denny is cool, calm, collected.
Yeah.
Like the most simple thing you've ever seen.
Evil Denny too?
Oh yeah. No, Chief was.
Chief is like and I mean this with love. Chief is like the kid who gets a pop fly in center field that hasn't caught one in a long time, and it's like, oh no, is he gonna drop it?
So
and then he doesn't, and then he doesn't, and you're very excited and you're relieved. He's just a great Blazer. I'm so glad he's on this list.
Yes.
I would feel bad if Chief was not on this list. So we love you, Chief. I hope you're watching. I'm sure he's very happy wherever he is. Care to guess how much money Al-Farouq Aminu made in his career?
Oh, he got 2 good contracts. So I'm going to say 75.
Can I get a guess?
Please?
55.
71.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
71.
So he got two real contracts.
I had a buddy who saw him take his kids to see Despicable Me 3, said had a bunch of candy and popcorn. He laughed his face off, had a great time. I'm like, of course he did.
Yeah.
Chief's always having a great time.
No, you never found Chief not having
Sweet
no,
man.
he was.
I want to meet him. I want to meet.
Al,
come on through. I want to meet him.
I'd love to see him come back through and do some like alumni stuff or something like that. Chief's
he is
solid dude.
Like, in terms of like national recognition and like, I'll be frank, like output on the floor, like he's a very solid Blazer, but like his love that he generates versus what he generated in terms of success on the team, like that gap is a chasm. And Chief was a good Blazer, but he is loved like he's a top 5, top 10 player in this era, not a top 25 towards the bottom of that list. And I mean that with love. Like he has a certain kind of charisma that's tough to quantify. You just know it when you see it.
You know, when you said that, like the guy that's kind of never caught something in the middle of the field, but he finally does it, how would he be licking his chops at the next few games for our Portland Trailblazers? Can we get to the Blazer box, baby? Because
Chief would eat.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about it. Well,
here comes the cross-country trip to face the worst team in basketball.
Did they win today?
The Washington Wizards. I'm gonna. Oh my God, they did.
Yeah.
They beat the Nets.
So we got
they got, ladies and gentlemen, break out the champagne. The Washington Wizards have 10 wins on the season. They got the double digits.
So the record is safe?
It's safe.
It's the Mavs, right? From the 80s?
No, God, I can't remember. But nine was, I believe, the record. I can't imagine suffering through 73 losses.
You sure?
I can't.
No. It was the Charlotte Bobcats. Based on winning percentage,
Oh, yeah, but
it
that's
was a shortened season. The Bobcats won 7 games and lost 59. That is the worst percentage in NBA history. The Philadelphia 76ers in 72-73 lost 73 times and won 9. Okay.
So going to the game tonight for the Wizards, Alex Sarr was out for an ankle, and Malcolm Brogdon was out with an ankle.
Wait, how much is a Big Mac usually?
I don't know. I don't go. Do you?
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've had a Big Mac.
Like, okay, let's just say it's $3.99. Okay.
Also, I will
is that
say,
right? It's $5?
Yeah, long gone are the days of the
Not my McDonald's.
Just a sandwich?
the 99-cent Whopper.
Wait, DB, just a sandwich?
Yeah.
Just a. Oh my, that's terrible.
Unbelievable.
Oh my,
Look,
you're
man, also,
robbing Americans.
Also, it's DC. Everything's more
thuggish
expensive.
behavior.
Everything's
true.
more expensive in DC. It's the capital.
That
ladies
is
and
true.
McDonald's is a bunch of thugs.
I'm actually really interested in this matchup
gracious.
in one particular vein. If Alex Sarr is out there playing,
Sure. Your guy?
the number 2 pick in the draft, the guy that I had number 1 on my board. I think he can be a pretty special defensive player, and he's actually started to show that over the last couple weeks. And I think it's kind of a unique matchup if Donovan ends up having to guard him, and just kind of the size and athleticism, because Sarr's 7'1", and he moves like there. I've mentioned this before. Outside of Victor Wembanyama, I have never scouted a player that big that moves that efficiently, that fluidly. It's kind of creepy how well he moves at his size, both defensively and with the ball. You're like, that's not supposed to happen.
So why is everyone so down on that draft if he is like a legitimate tentpole player?
I don't think he's a tentpole player. I think he's a player much like Donovan.
So where is he in this draft, for example? Like in the 25 draft, where would Alex Sarr go? Is he a top 5 pick? Is he 10?
6 through 9 probably.
Okay.
Probably you get
Like for me,
top 10 pick.
for me, Sar's
top 10.
a top 10 pick, but I would definitely take Cooper, Dylan, Kasparis. You can probably make the argument for VJ Edgecombe. I squint at Ace Bailey, but the offensive upside at 6'9", 6'10" is certainly there. So yeah, I would probably put him at 6, unless you were like a big Trey Johnson guy out of Texas. I think you could probably have him there pretty easily. But I would put Sar in that 6 through 9 range.
So Don should have a decent challenge come Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean he's a very mobile, defensive-oriented big who, if he ever figures it offensively, could do some pretty impressive stuff. I don't think he's going to be your number 1, number 2, or even 3 option offensively, but if he does develop into a three-point shooter and a rim roller, I think you could see him be kind of a Chet light, which that's a good player.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good
If
player.
you're in the conversation with Chet, you're happy. I mean, that is going to be a fun thing to watch over the course of this trip, is the different style of bigs that Donovan gets to compete against. Because
Evan Mobley,
exactly,
Jared
that was
Allen,
the first one I
Kristaps
was thinking.
Porzingis.
Yes.
Joel Embiid is not going to be there. You're going to get very close. The 76ers
Have
are
you
laying.
checked in on the 76ers?
Oh, buddy.
It's not good,
It's not
folks.
great, but they were down 30 to the Bulls tonight.
Yeah, they gave up 140 plus. I mean,
They lost
do
by
we-
32.
Do we have capture the flag? Danny, let's take a look, because
Might as
the
well.
flag's pretty far away right
I
now.
mean, Philadelphia's trying their best to capture it.
And that's a big part of this.
There's Philly number 6.
You see, I'm not tweaking.
Yeah.
Look at them.
They're 20 and 34, and they're laying the groundwork over the next couple of days to shut Joel Embiid down.
That's just a
season.
disappointing season, Danny.
Well,
Like,
it's a monumentally
horribly.
disappointing season.
They were
make-
what, the
Right.
third favorite in the East going
Yeah,
into the season
you
with the
made
George
moves with
acquisition?
Paul George, and you've got Joel back.
And Maxey and-
yeah, I mean, yeah, they were going on the model of kind of like the 3 stars kind of a deal, and Paul George wasn't even going to be asked to really carry that burden. And Paul George may be the second most disappointing player in the NBA. Joel Embiid is number 1, but that's because of injuries, where Paul George looks like he just may be cooked.
So let's hang here for a second where your Blazers are. So just a half game behind San Antonio now. A couple games behind the Heat. Just a couple games behind the Suns. Again,
They're only a half game behind the Spurs because they played 3 more games.
I understand. Fascinating road trip, though.
It is.
It's
You know,
moving.
and look, again,
Because you look at these two
the
games
Nets
coming up,
just lost to the Wizards.
and then you got Philly, who's an absolute dumpster fire. They
But
are
they
on the road.
and not only that, it is on a
Correct.
back-to-back. It'll be game, 4 of the road
Yeah,
trip?
yeah, Wizards, Nets. So let's go back to the Blazers spots really quick. Let's talk about it. We got a few minutes left in the show. We got Wizards, we got Nets, then we got Cleveland, and that's the back to
It's
back
game
with
5,
76.
which game 5 of a 7-game trip, that's tough, especially you're going from Utah flying across the country to Washington. Washington, day off. Brooklyn, day off. Cleveland, day off. Oh, no day off. Go straight to Philly. So you basically, it's not like it's a long flight, but you're going from Cleveland, game ends, book it to the airport, get in probably late, and then play Philly on a back-to-back.
But look at the days of the week, too, because you'll notice Portland doesn't have consecutive days off until you get into mid-March.
Yeah, no, this
It is a grind.
No,
Very
it-
tough
It
stretch.
is 7 games in 13 days, and they're going to play 9 games in 9 different cities. That's tough, man. Because even when they come home, they only come home for 1 against Detroit, and it's still that game's a way off. I am so looking forward to that Pistons game.
I love the Pistons.
Watching what Kate
Bill
Cunningham
Walton
is
night.
doing, it is true. It is be Bill Walton night.
It'll be
Luke
Bill
Walton is
Walton
on the
night.
coaching staff for the Detroit Pistons, which is kind of a part of why that's going to happen.
Wear
that
your
night.
color dye.
It's
Yep.
going to be. I think it's going to be a very cool night. But selfishly, for basketball reasons and seeing him in person, because Cade didn't come through here last year with the injuries, the level he is playing at, I am that.
Yeah, Detroit's won 7 in a row. They're the 6th seed
I'm
right now.
very excited to watch them play in person.
Like, if Detroit gets the right matchup in the first round,
They
I'd
can be
probably
frisky.
take Detroit.
They could be frisky.
It'd be fascinating.
Like, would you take them over Orlando right now? Because I would. Because Orlando just.
I would take them over Orlando. Right now, they're matched up with New York, and Tibbs will kill those guys to win that series.
But they also have
Spring of the Blazer box,
The
talking about
Knicks are the 28th best defense, I think, or 20th best defense in the NBA right now.
Isn't that so wild how the Knicks are a scoring team and they don't play the defense they used to? I mean,
There's
you
a
know,
very specific reason for it. It starts with K and ends
right.
with at.
Yeah.
He's a god awful defender.
Change the dynamic of their team.
That's why the Timberwolves went out and spent an entire treasure trove worth of Rudy Gobert.
Again, I still think the East is so fascinating. Like,
Isn't it fun to look at?
it really is, because
There's very clear delineations between teams.
it's huge because you have Cleveland and Boston are 1A and 1B right now. And then you have basically like New York was sort of vacillating between, are they up there? It seems pretty clear, like, at least
They're
right now.
Let's have questions.
They're not. They haven't beat a top 3 team.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
0-7
questions.
against the top 3 teams this season, and it's not even like they're getting smoked in those games.
Right.
It hasn't even been close.
And then you have Milwaukee. All right.
Which again,
Who the hell knows what's going on with that team?
Too
but-
top heavy.
well, here's the thing: in a 7-game series, I don't think you want to play them.
Absolutely not.
I
No.
don't think you want to play them.
But
They got it, Kyle Kuzma,
Which we kind of laughed
did.
about. It has been helpful for them.
absolutely.
He's just been in the dumps because he's been in the district.
Yeah, but look, I mean,
Look what happened to Denny.
Yeah.
Flourishing.
And you leave. It's like when you leave the Carolina Panthers, you start glowing, you start doing wonders,
Baker.
right?
Yeah, look what happened.
No,
and Darnold.
yeah.
I'm
Right.
so serious. Everybody that leaves, they eventually do well, right?
Rice.
All right. So quickly, thoughts on the
Standing
Wizards
Panthers.
Wednesday.
That's a 20-point win.
Yeah, they should absolutely steamroll them. This is a game where if you aren't, even on a year where people want them to lose, you probably want them to win.
All right, Wednesday, 4 p.m. here on the Rip City TV network. Be sure to watch the tip-off as the Blazers are on the road. Their second game of the road trip, 6 games, and they are taking on the Washington Wizards. That is going to be awesome. We are going to be back for episode 59 of the Rip City Wrap-Up. Thank you on this Monday for joining us. It was an awesome show. Portland Timbers, they're also back at it. They didn't see the shirt. I had to sport it. Did you like the jersey?
I love the jerseys.
Love some Tillamook cheese.
Maybe the play not so much.
Well, they have another chance on Saturday. But we are back at it on Wednesday, baby. We'll see you then. Appreciate you all.
Love you all so much.
Bye.